Canelo Alvarez was directly questioned about the possibility of fighting Terence Crawford, but his response made one thing clear: he's not interested in the speculation. When asked if his perspective on the fight had changed and what challenges the undisputed welterweight champion might present, Canelo shut down the discussion, saying,
"Weren't really entertaining it before, but that things have changed. What challenges does Terence Crawford present to you, and how do you beat him?"
Oh, I'm focused 100% on me. So, versus this.
Even when pressed on whether facing Crawford would enhance his legacy, Canelo remained firm in his stance. While he acknowledged Crawford's accomplishments, he refused to entertain the idea any further.
Do you think it'll add to your legacy, the fight with Crawford?
He's a really good fighter. 2 times undisputed champion. He accomplished so much. So, can add a lot to my.
This isn't the first time Canelo has sidestepped questions about Terence Crawford, but does his latest response shut down the possibility for good? Let us know what you think. For months, Canelo Alvarez has downplayed talk of a fight with Crawford, repeatedly insisting he's focused on his own career. However, after weeks of speculation, it now looks like the fight is officially happening. Turki Alashik, the man behind some of the biggest fights in Saudi Arabia, has confirmed that Canelo versus Crawford is set for September.
Canelo in Riyadh in May, the big fight in the history of boxing. In September, then 2 more fights in 26. Don't miss with the Lion.
This is huge. Canelo, the undisputed champion at 168, will face Crawford, who dominated the welterweight division and is now making a historic leap, moving up 3 weight classes to challenge the Mexican superstar. For Canelo, this fight is about proving he's still the king of boxing and silencing any doubts about his willingness to face all challengers. For Crawford, it's a chance to cement his legacy with one of the most daring moves in boxing history. Canelo Alvarez spent months dismissing speculation about a fight with Terence Crawford. But now, not only is the fight confirmed, Canelo has made a bold promise to Turki Alashik. With their September showdown locked in, he reassured Turki with just 4 words.
I'm gonna look great.
There is one item missed from you now. That belt.
That belt. But I got you.
Yeah,
Don't worry. I got you.
This is a major statement. Canelo has already conquered the super middleweight division as the undisputed champion, but with Crawford making the bold move of jumping 3 weight classes for this historic showdown, the stakes have never been higher. For Canelo, this fight isn't just about defending his titles. It's about cementing his legacy as the face of boxing. With the full backing of Saudi Arabia, he's promising to leave no doubt. The boxing world was recently shaken by huge news regarding the future of the sport. UFC President and CEO Dana White is officially entering the boxing promotion business in partnership with Turki Alashik. This new deal will bring together Saudi Arabia's public investment fund subsidiary and TKO, the parent company of UFC and WWE, under a multi-year agreement. Following the announcement, Dana White spoke with Dan Rafael about his vision for the new venture. Before the interview aired, Rafael dropped a bombshell. Canelo Alvarez no longer has an official promoter, and the highly anticipated Canelo versus Crawford showdown in September will likely be handled by this new Saudi-backed entity. Rafael explained that Turki Alashik has a 4-fight deal with Canelo, meaning the Mexican superstar is no longer tied to a traditional promoter like Matchroom, Golden Boy, or PBC. Instead, his fights will be directly managed by Saudi Arabia's growing influence in the sport. But who will officially promote Canelo versus Crawford? According to Rafael, the answer is becoming clearer. He noted that Dana White's new venture will be handling events for the Saudi-backed entity. And based on recent rumblings, it seems likely that this TKO-affiliated company will take the lead in promoting the fight. If true, this marks a major shakeup in boxing's promotional landscape. Instead of Matchroom, Top Rank, or PBC controlling the event, Saudi Arabia's backing could change the game entirely. For months, Canelo brushed off the idea of fighting Terence Crawford. He never called for it, never pushed for it, and even dismissed the speculation. But now it's happening. Why? Because Turkey, Al-Sheikh, and Saudi Arabia have made it impossible to say no, as Dan Rafael put it. This isn't about legacy or rivalry. It's about money.
It's a fight that Turkey, Al-Sheikh from Saudi Arabia has shown a lot of interest in. And of course, if it's going to get made, someone's going to have to put up a lot of guaranteed money. And he's probably the person that's going to do it. He's obviously been working closely with Terence Crawford. He was involved with Terence Crawford's last fight that took place in August when he fought Israel Majumov. It's obviously a fight that Terence Crawford has been very vocal about wanting.
Al-Sheikh has played a major role in Crawford's career, backing his last fight in August. And now he's the driving force behind making this fight a reality. By putting up an offer too massive for even Canelo to ignore, he's ensuring it happens. Crawford has always wanted this fight. He's been vocal. He's called for it repeatedly. Canelo, on the other hand, never did. In fact, as Dan Rafael pointed out, Canelo made it clear he wasn't interested.
Canelo hasn't ever said he wanted the fight, kind of downplayed it to a certain degree. But it wasn't that long ago. I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago, he was doing an appearance and he was asked about it and he didn't close the door on it. In the past, he sort of like closed the door on it and was like, I'm not interested. He's like, listen, I'll talk to anybody and listen to what they have to say about the deal, any kind of deal. So in my mind, that sort of at least cracked open the door to have the conversation. Like he wasn't just saying, forget it, in terms of working with Turkey or anybody else. So I think that Canelo is a smart person in terms of his boxing, but also in terms of his business.
But here's where things get interesting. Canelo never outright denied the fight either. A few months ago, when asked about Crawford, he left the door open just enough. Now, with Saudi Arabia making it official, the real question is, did Canelo take the fight because he truly wants it, or was the offer simply too big to refuse? As Canelo versus Crawford moves closer to reality, boxing pros are already weighing in, and former world champion Mikey Garcia isn't impressed. In fact, he believes the fight is all wrong and already sees a clear winner. For Garcia, this isn't about skill. It's about size, power, and simple physics.
I think Canelo wins that fight based on just the size, power and size. Now, skill-wise, I think Crawford's a better skilled fighter, but the difference in size will be the deciding factor, and that's why I'm not even a fan of that fight. I think Crawford has accomplished everything he had to accomplish from 140, 147, now 154. That's even greater for him. He wants to do something, collect belts at 154, he can attempt that. But there's no money in that compared to the Canelo fight. And Canelo is trying to fight other guys, and at that point it's more of a big fight for the money that's gonna get.
Garcia acknowledges that Crawford is the more skilled fighter, but he believes the size difference will be too much for Bud to overcome. That's exactly why he's not a fan of this fight.
As a fight fan, I'm not really a fan of that matchmaking. I'd rather see Canelo move up and fight somebody like Petrovic or Revolt again. If he wanted to challenge himself, move up to 175 again and challenge himself against those guys. Not a smaller guy moving up.
Garcia would rather see Canelo challenge himself at 175, taking on fighters like Bivol or Beterbiev again, rather than facing a much smaller Crawford moving up. But with the massive money behind this fight, it's clear why it's happening. As momentum builds for Canelo versus Crawford, former world champion Andre Ward has made his stance loud and clear. He's backing Crawford all the way. While many believe the size and power difference will be too much for Bud to handle, Ward sees something else. An unbreakable I'm going with Terence Bud Crawford, Ward stated. It's a big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will, that he can't figure it out. It's no disrespect to Canelo, but I've said this before, I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against anybody right now. You've got to show me that you can beat him. Ward made it clear, this isn't about doubting Canelo. It's about believing in Crawford's ability to adapt and overcome any challenge, no matter the weight class or opponent. And Crawford isn't backing down. With talks of a September showdown heating up, Bud has sent out a cryptic yet deadly confident message.
I told my boy Jazz, I already caught the biggest fish in Texas. About to get out of here and get it in. That's it, water. I know who the #1 fisherman is. Even big fish get caught.
Crawford already proved his dominance by dismantling Errol Spence, who once called himself the Big Fish. Now, he's making it clear, Canelo might be the next prize catch on his list. As the fight inches closer to reality, Crawford isn't just talking. He's sending a message, letting Canelo know exactly what's coming. Trainer Andre Rozier sees Crawford's move to 154 as a logical step, but jumping up to face Canelo? He isn't convinced. Rozier views it as a risky and dangerous leap, questioning whether Crawford can handle the sheer size and power difference.
In another weight class, and I think 54 is going to be enough for him. Him going up to fight, quote unquote, if it should happen, Canelo, I don't see that ending well. It's just too much and too far to go. But and that's what it would take.
Rozier's concerns highlight just how massive this challenge is. Crawford wouldn't just be stepping up in weight. He'd be facing one of the sport's biggest pound-for-pound stars while dealing with a serious physical disadvantage. With all the hype surrounding a potential Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford showdown, Canelo has finally responded, and he didn't sugarcoat his thoughts.
Crawford, I see he wants to fight. He's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better. No, Terence Crawford is a great fighter. He's a good fighter, but like I say, he's a weight classes for a reason.
Canelo's message is clear. He's not underestimating Crawford, but he also believes there's a limit to how far skill can take you against size and power. While Crawford is chasing greatness by moving up, Canelo is reminding him that boxing history is filled with fighters who learned the hard way why weight classes exist. Former world champion Keith Thurman, known for his sharp strategic mind, believes Crawford sees something others might be missing in Canelo. Analyzing Canelo's fight against Jermall Charlo, Thurman pointed out key moments that may have convinced Crawford he has a path to victory.
When Canelo fought Charlo, besides the knockdown, Charlo was able to protect himself very well against Canelo's onslaught. The only problem was, while protecting himself, there was no offense.
Thurman observed that after Charlo suffered knockdown, he adjusted his defense to minimize damage but failed to counter effectively, allowing Canelo to control the fight. He suggested that Crawford, known for his adaptability and offensive creativity, likely sees an opportunity to exploit those openings.
And I believe, seeing what I saw, I believe Crawford saw the same thing. If Charlo can go so untouched by just being, once he got dropped, spider senses, boom, fully awakened, right? Boom. So now hands up, don't make no mistakes. So, that's how it is. We saw it in the Munguia fight, we saw it in the last fight. It's those little mistakes that end up having big consequences against Canelo.
Unlike Charlo, who focused on survival, Crawford may look to blend defense with calculated aggression, finding ways to score while steering clear of Canelo's devastating power. However, Thurman also acknowledged the danger. One mistake against Canelo could be fight-ending. That's where the skepticism comes in. Some believe Crawford's size and recent performances don't suggest he can handle a full-fledged super middleweight. His last fight, a decision win over Israel Madrimov at 154, didn't leave a dominant impression. Even Ryan Garcia didn't hold back, calling the victory a robbery.
Crawford is trash. Don't ever compare Crawford to Canelo again. Shout out young Triple G. He did his I felt he won. At least a draw. The judges. You weirdos. You guys suck ass. And Crawford, you're not pound for pound. Suck a You never fought nobody good. You fought Spence that had a car accident.
Former welterweight champion Shawn Porter, who went toe-to-toe with Terence Crawford, isn't convinced that moving up to face Canelo Alvarez is the right move. Having experienced Crawford's skill and power firsthand, Porter acknowledges his elite boxing abilities, but sees a dangerous mismatch in size and strength.
The others say, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he still got that kind of steam. But you know, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend. It's just so much to go into. It's a conversation that lasts an hour easily when we talk about all of the components that Terence Crawford has, all of the components that Canelo had, and how we find how they even out and who trumps one another. You know what I mean? We tried to do that with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and we see how that panned out. You know what I mean? So
Porter's concern isn't about Crawford's technique or adaptability. It's about the sheer physical gap. Canelo has showcased destructive power at higher weight classes, while Crawford has yet to prove he can handle elite competition beyond 154 pounds. The debate continues to grow. Is Crawford's skill enough to overcome the size and power disadvantage, or is he taking a risk that could backfire in devastating fashion? Nico Ali Walsh, the grandson of Muhammad Ali, has weighed in on the ongoing discussion. While many analysts question whether Crawford can handle the size and power difference, Walsh sees it differently. He believes that if any fighter is capable of pulling off such a monumental challenge, it's Crawford.
Everyone's talking about like Crawford's jumping up weight classes, this and that. Canelo's one of the number one pound for pound guys. Crawford's one of the number one pound for pound guys. If anybody can do it, it's Bud. Bud only.
Unlike skeptics who focus on the physical disadvantages, Walsh views the fight as a clash between two generational talents. His perspective adds another layer to the debate. Is Crawford truly a once-in-a-lifetime fighter capable of defying weight classes, or will Canelo's power be too much to overcome? Meanwhile, boxing analyst Frank Sta3 just made one of the boldest and most controversial predictions yet. He doesn't believe Canelo Alvarez will even make it to his rumored September fight with Terence Crawford. Why? Because he claims Jake Paul will shock the world in May, defeat Canelo, and throw himself into the Crawford sweepstakes instead.
I think Canelo Alvarez is going to make it to September. I think Jake Paul, if they fight in May, is going to beat Canelo. He's going to jump into the Terence Crawford sweepstakes. They're going to have a whole separate big fight. And, you know, with Canelo being out of the picture, I think that is a great generational fight. I think Crawford versus Jake Paul will be huge and tremendous, sell out Allegiant Stadium.
This take isn't just bold, it's downright shocking. The idea of Jake Paul beating Canelo is already a stretch for most fans. But the thought of a Crawford versus Paul mega fight headlining in Las Vegas? That's next level. Is this just wild speculation, or does STA see something others don't? One thing is certain. This prediction just sent shockwaves through the boxing world. Meanwhile, super welterweight champion Israel Madrimov has weighed in on the highly debated Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford showdown, offering a perspective that keeps the fight right down the middle.
Good fight. You know, if 168 pounds, I think it's Canelo, but it's Canelo better technique, because 50-50. If 12 rounds, Crawford win, I think. If knockout, it's Canelo. He has power, smart, in more practical.
He has more experience.
Madrimov sees Crawford's ring, IQ, and skill set as the key to a decision victory. But when it comes to raw power at 168, he gives the edge to Canelo. His prediction adds even more fuel to the debate. Can Crawford's technical brilliance neutralize Canelo's sheer size and strength, or will the power disparity be too much to overcome? Meanwhile, Gervonta Tank Davis isn't hiding his skepticism about Terence Crawford's physical transformation in recent years. While many view Crawford's move up in weight as a bold challenge, Davis suggests there's more to the story, questioning how Crawford has managed to pack on muscle while seemingly avoiding damage in the ring.
No. Crawford needs the money.
Crawford needs the money?
And another thing, bro, I don't be wanting to, how these guys is, didn't get hurt against,
Madrimov?
Who?
There you talking about Crawford got touched by Madrimov? Is that what you're
No,
saying?
he got clipped by Gabor, right? Right? he's looking that strong over the past year. I'm like, all these years. He ain't been getting clipped or nothing. So that's that snack shit. I'm telling you. Y'all laugh. I'm telling you. And that guy that a part of it, he been caught before. He went to jail for it.
Davis is clearly implying that Crawford's sudden physical strength might not be purely natural, even referencing Victor Connie's SNAC program, which has long been a controversial topic in boxing. While there's no evidence to support these claims, Davis's remarks add another layer of intrigue. Is Crawford's physique raising legitimate questions, or is this just pre-fight mind games? As the debate over Crawford moving up 3 weight classes to challenge Canelo Alvarez intensifies, Stephen A. Smith isn't holding back. He thinks it's a terrible idea. While Crawford has dominated every division he's fought in, Smith believes there's a clear size limit to his greatness, and history has already shown why this fight could end in disaster for him.
Let me tell you what I think should be going. The notion that Terence Bud Crawford should move up 3 weight classes, 21 pounds, to fight Canelo Alvarez. He's entirely too small. Jamel Charlo already proved that. Y'all remember that scene from Rocky? Remember that scene from Rocky 2? When Carl Weathers was Apollo Creed and his trainer was like, can I be honest? I saw you beat this man within an inch of his life. And he kept coming. He wouldn't go away. He's wrong for us, baby. He's wrong. Let it go. Apollo couldn't do it. And lost fight number 2. Trained him for fight Rocky 3, and then got killed in Rocky 4 by Drago because he couldn't let it go. Bud Crawford needs to let it go. Too small.
Size, bro, remember, like Crawford then is a big boy as well. Crawford's a big guy when it comes to a box fight. Yeah. I think Crawford, in my opinion, but size might matter. But then again, I think since when I fought Canelo's become a better boxer. He started boxing more better. You know what I mean? Technical more. Especially against the last fight against Mangui, he boxed really well as well, and he's looking really good. He's still, a lot of people might say, oh, he's getting old, this, that, another, but no, Canelo's still a beast.
If Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford happens, it will be one of the most daring challenges in boxing history. Crawford, already a 2-division undisputed champion, looks to defy the limits of weight classes and take down one of the sport's most dominant forces. Meanwhile, Canelo sees this as an opportunity to further solidify his legacy, proving once again that size and power reign supreme. The stakes couldn't be higher. If Crawford pulls off the upset, he shatters the weight class narrative and cements himself as an all-time great. If Canelo wins, he reinforces his status as the face of boxing, shutting down yet another ambitious challenger. Will Crawford's skill and adaptability be enough? Or is Canelo simply too big, too strong, and too experienced at 168? But what do you think? Does Crawford have the tools to overcome the size disadvantage? Or is Canelo simply too big and too strong?